Bom dia! Vamos ver aqui como é que a gente faz para liberar o acesso do Elco. Salve, Ney! Oi, gente, bom dia! Começando com uma introduçãozinha, então, em português por aqui, antes da entrada do nosso convidado especial. Oi, Aline! Essa é a primeira de uma série de 3 lives do projeto Semente do Plástico, que é um projeto que acontece desde 2020, através de uma parceria do Vila Flores com o Centro Social Marista, irmão Antônio Bortolini, na Vila Santa Terezinha, e também da Lixo, que é uma empresa localizada aqui em Porto Alegre, no Centro Histórico, e com vários outros parceiros que nos apoiam em projetos mais específicos dentro desse programa. E hoje, então, a gente vai estar conversando sobre cooperação internacional, sobre como esse projeto foi viável, foi viabilizado, através de um apoio muito especial e muito importante do Consulado da Holanda no Brasil, que é quem está viabilizando, então, essa série de lives e também o projeto nos últimos tempos. Eu vou convidar para entrar aqui com a gente hoje, nessa primeira live com essa temática de cooperação internacional, o Elco. Ele é holandês, nosso grande parceiro, já há 3 anos seguidos em projetos com o Consulado da Holanda. Ele tem uma iniciativa chamada Society Fresh, que ele vai apresentar aqui pra gente. E em função da participação dele, conectando lá da Holanda, onde são 3 da tarde, a gente vai fazer essa live em inglês. Então ela não vai ter legenda, né, porque ela é ao vivo, mas vai ficar salva por aqui para quem quiser ouvir depois com mais calma. Quem quiser acompanhar também, ela deve durar uns 40 minutinhos. Eu vou botar ele para dentro aqui. Hi, Elco.
Bom dia, Beta. How are you?
Bom dia.
It's very good to see you again. And
Yeah.
everybody who is in chat as well, of course. Hello, everybody.
So good morning. I was just explaining everyone what are we up to. That this is the first of a series of live streams we are doing here in Vila Flores Instagram to discuss a bit about Semente do Plástico program, project, and everything we are doing in the past few months together, but also in the past few years together in some other projects. So maybe you can start by presenting yourself.
Sure. I'm currently following some Duolingo lessons in Portuguese, so I could more or less follow your introduction, Beta. Thank you for your kind words. My name is Elco. I run Society Fresh, and Society Fresh is a empowerment consultancy agency from the Netherlands. My area of expertise is to help people empower themselves in whatever situation they find themselves. And I'm doing this all over the world. I am Dutch, originally from Colombian descent, so I feel very closely related to your country, which is exciting for me because I'm hoping to go to Brazil and then also hopefully going to Colombia as well after. But I've traveled all over the world. I've lived 10 years abroad as well. I've worked a lot in Asian countries, in Thailand, Cambodia, Bangladesh, but also in Turkey. And I've worked a lot with refugee populations. In Bangladesh, I worked with the Rohingya, which is a marginalized Muslim population that fled from Myanmar. And I worked in the biggest refugee camp in the world, which houses close to 1 million refugees in a very tiny place. And there I did gender-based violence projects together with art therapists, which was an amazing project. And my role was to design the project, to execute the project, and then also make sure that changes that we did were sustainable. So whenever we leave, we leave something behind. But I also do this in Amsterdam, and I've worked in Africa as well. So basically all over the place, and hopefully, we did already 2 projects together, which I'm sure we're going to talk about a little bit more. And hopefully we're going to meet each other in the new year to do a really big project together, which we are both very excited about. So that's a little introduction about who I am.
Thanks, Elco, for presenting yourself. I feel like everyone now can understand a little bit about why this project is so important for us. It also is the beginning of this very kind partnership we are developing with the help of the consulate in Brazil. But it all started before Semente do Plástico, that I feel like we should present the project again, so that if anyone who's watching us does not know the project or doesn't remember it. But before, how we've met, how Vila Flores and Society Fresh began to cooperate, and why does the Netherlands and Brazil are cooperating, and the consulate is finding in this cooperation something valuable. Maybe if you'd like to start.
Well, the cooperation comes because, of course, we both are very football-loving nations, and we both play the best football in the world. So that's an easy match. But I think the way we got into contact was through a mutual friend of ours, and I met this friend in Bangkok, where I was organizing a big photo festival. And I needed someone who could do our educational program. We had like 2,000 Thai school children that we're doing a project with, and it was a really big project, and I needed someone who could basically run this program. So I got into contact with a guy called Jesse. He's also from Amsterdam. He's Dutch also, and he's a guy who is very creative, and he designs programs to basically, in a radical way, make use of the creativity in people, and he has his own company called We the City, and he focuses a lot on public spaces, and that's how we met, because you know Jesse as well, I believe, Beta. So maybe you should share how you met Jesse, and then how we started working together.
Yes, so we've met in an event in Amsterdam called Boiling, and that's actually the whole reason why we are still here and why we are able to, the Boiling existence is the reason why we are able to be cooperating for so long. If some of the audience here listening to us and seeing us recalls, we've done a project called Me Conta in 2020 and 2021. In 2020, it happened due to a collaboration with the consulate as well, and that was an adaptation of the boiling method created by Jesse in the Netherlands that I got a chance to, and the opportunity to experience presentially when I was there. And then from then on, I was always trying to understand how could we make that happen in Brazil. And then when the consulate opened the funding opportunity, Vila Flores immediately saw on it an opportunity to also amplify the networks and foster a lot of special projects in the territory. So Me Conta was this adaptation of Boiling, which is a space for city makers and community leaders to present proposals for an audience, and this audience decide then who and which proposals to fund in a very non-bureaucratic way, a very straightforward way of trusting people to develop their own projects who are already developing the projects. So this happened in 2020. That's how Elco, Society Fresh, and Vila Flores met and started to cooperate.
Yeah, and I think what is really interesting to go back to a little bit more about the philosophy of Me Conta and also Boiling. One of the biggest reasons why we decided to do a Boiling or do a Me Conta is because we wanted to cut through the red tape, because at least here in the Netherlands and probably also in Brazil, if you want to do something, you have to apply for funding, you have to jump through all kinds of hoops, you have to write big reports, and it takes up a lot of time. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to organize not only city makers, but we also wanted to organize the general public by saying, you can support this plan, this idea that this city maker has for you by giving some money, but you can also support it by giving your own energy, your own hands, your own time to support this particular idea, which is really cool, because then you get like all these cross relationships between people, and that really energizes the society that this particular project is being held in. So that's why I'm always very proud when I'm doing a boiling, or in our case, when we did a Mekonta, because we were super successful. And I believe our project was actually something new that we didn't do with boiling before. And that was the international component. And that was also the international component because the world forced us to, and that actually gave us new opportunities, because we were in the middle of this terrible pandemic, so we couldn't travel, we couldn't come to you, but everybody all of a sudden discovered we can make online connections, and if we can make online connections, the world is basically your oyster, and the world is at your feet. So why don't we make use of this super big network that we have, and organize a Mekonta in such a way that we can also, from the Netherlands, support the local ideas that live in your neighborhood. And that worked surprisingly well.
Yeah, I find important also to highlight the fact that we adapted the methodology also to society questions and issues we have here. So we also made a lot of measures to facilitate the access to the program itself. Like you're saying, we cut the red tape, but also the way the program is established, anyone really can join, can come with a proposal, and if it goes through the jury, then it's ready to be presented to the public. And also, since we were doing it with the consulate, we were able to connect both audiences. So we had people in the Netherlands watching the Mekonta. We had it translated to English and also to Libras, the sign language here in Brazil. And we gathered then donations from both Brazilian and Dutch audiences, with what made the projects, the 4 projects presented, to be come true. Happen.
And actually, normally we only have one winner, because normally if we do a live event, then all the ticket prices go towards the winner of the evening, and then most of the time we double it, because there's an institutional sponsor like a bank or a big company who says, okay, I'm going to double the money. But when we did our evening, we collected so much money, we were able to fund not just one pitch or one presenter, but all the presenters, which was amazing. And I think
that came from the participants itself. That was something super surprising and also very emotional for us, at least, because in the pandemic situation we were at, the 5 projects were also kind to each other to understand that, well, we are all important here in this neighborhood. We are all doing relevant work in order to make society more equal and more fair. So how can we also support each other in this? It's not a competition at all. It's a platform for all of us to be able to reach more people and more resources, including financial ones. So once they understood what would happen, and that resources from the Netherlands and from Brazil would be coming in their direction, they decided in a consensus that everyone should be able to bite a little bit of that money. So apart from the money that was already by the consulate that came in donations, they decided to spread amongst all the participants.
And actually, this is something that happens all the time when we're doing a boiling in our case, or a Mekonta in your case. They think they entering a competition, and then they really quickly realize it's not a competition. It's about building a network with people that are just working just as hard for your community as you're doing yourself. And that side effect is somewhat of an extra bonus when we're doing projects like this, because it really energizes local societies. And maybe that's even the most important thing that can happen when we do a project like this, because that is making the project sustainable. If you energize the minds and hearts of people, and they start working together, not only for this, but later on, because they form new relationships, and out of those new relationships, there come new plans, and that's what you want, because then you get an active participating society. And if you have an active participating society, that's always better when it comes to improving your society and the health and well-being of people. So what I like about projects like this, it's all very intimate and very small and tiny and cute and adorable and all these types of things, but actually you're working towards a very big, beautiful goal, which is improving society and the lives of people. And that's why I like to do projects like this, because it's actually really effective without being a big project.
Yeah. And talking about well-being of society and of communities, from Me Conta, we took a step forward, and in the year next to Me Conta, so 2021, still in pandemic situation, but a little bit less isolated by that time. We've started Semente do Plástico, the whole reason we are here today talking, being able to talk to everyone who's watching us. Semente do Plástico, then, just to do a quick presentation, please, Elco, if you feel like complimenting me,
sure,
come along. We have started this thing that happened because a guy in the Netherlands called Dave Hackens created this methodology called Precious Plastic, where he created a few machines that can recycle plastic without being in an industrial scale. So people anywhere basically could, if they got the right resources and the amount of money that they need, that is not a lot compared to what you usually need to recycle plastic. They could get these resources and the money and build their own plastic recycling machines, like in their garage or wherever they wanted. And by that, they could also get their own plastic and recycle it at home. So closing the cycle of plastic as a whole in their house. And this is quite brilliant. And it was always seen as something quite brilliant by citizens all over the world. And then there's more than 200 hubs of precious plastic throughout the world that are doing this. In Porto Alegre, we have two of them. One of them is Lixo. Our super partner Elco has a company that does this for a few years now, and he will be in another live stream here next week. And the other hub we have in Porto Alegre is Semente do Plástico. So what we made was, we understood that this methodology and these machines could actually work not only as an environmental tool to benefit the well-being of everyone in the planet, but also a communitary social tool that could transform and work as an income generator for communities. So what we are doing since 2021 is we've invited a few young people from the Vila Santa Terezinha, this community that is 2 blocks away from Vila Flores, to join us and start to design and what would be this project adapted to their reality. How could we build these machines? Could we build these machines? Were it too difficult? Was it too difficult? Did we have resources to do so? And we did. So in the second semester of 2021, we've developed with 12 people from the community. We've built the machines in Vila Flores Strat at the time. And also by building the machines, findings such as learning, such as community building and design and dreams we have for our livelihood here. And by the end of the semester, we had the machines, but also a container on the way. And now, in the end of 2022, what we have is this workshop container that is located in the settlement, the Loteamento Santa Terezinha. We are having gatherings 2 times a week with 15 people from the community. The machines are already installed and up and running. And with these machines, we can actually make products and make things out of plastic. So what we do is the community itself gathers plastic in sums that will go to the trash or to a local, I don't know how to say that in English, um aterro. It will go away, but it wouldn't. And then what we do is we clean the plastic, we transform it into small little pieces with one of the machines, the trituradora. And afterwards, we design this mold, this thing where we inject the plastic inside. So with it, we can do keychains, we can do tables, we can do coffee holders, we can do a lot of things. And we have been doing it for a few years now, a few months now, with a lot of help of a lot of people. And Elco joined us in this project in the beginning to help us understand what would be the methodology we would use here. So basically what he did was in the first semester of the project, while we still didn't have the container, we still didn't have all the conditions, structural conditions to be a cooperative or be a business, a local business, we were still trying to understand what would happen. And Elco was also trying to understand what we were doing by a certain distance. So what we did was we reported to him every week, saying what we had done, what was going on, what was the biggest challenges we were facing, and he then, gathering all this information, told us, okay, so basically what you're doing is, and gave us this toolkit, this kind of manual report by the end of the semester, telling us a little bit more of what was going on and how could we make that even more easygoing and how could we make that more sustainable in the sense of not only environmental and social one, but to manage the thing to keep going.
Yeah, so, I think one other interesting aspect of the whole precious plastic philosophy and methodology is that it's community driven, and also that it's a participative way of thinking about making your society more sustainable in a way that it's more friendly to the environment. But I feel the community driven aspect, the participative aspect, is really important also when it comes to global cooperation. Because what I really like about this method is that it's a nice way to have a sustainable mindset. But what I really like about this is that it's actually a global network, and that people from all over the world who use this method can adapt and improve, and also work together to fix local problems in the sense of what types of products are we going to produce with it, or local problems in the sense of, okay, we need to build this machine in this particular way, but the materials here are not maybe so easily accessible or available than, for instance, in Europe. How can we fix this? And then if you share these local challenges with the global network, then new beautiful solutions come out of this. And what I like about this is that every local network, every local community all over the world is valued equally, because they all have their own solutions. And to me, that's very important, because, and we probably going to talk about this later when we're talking about the future, the way we like to cooperate is in a relationship which is really equal and mutual. Which is a little bit of a departure from the world that I'm coming from, and that is the developing countries world, where rich, white, Western European countries tell developing countries what to do. And I believe that's not a good way, that's not a sustainable way, and the projects that I'm involved in all have this aspect of really seeing the partners that you're working with or the people that you're working for as equals. And precious plastic is exactly a methodology that treats everybody really equally, and therefore the solutions that it comes up with are more sustainable and in my mind also better. So I'm really happy that you are implementing this method, also because I feel it's really well suited to the surroundings of Villa Teresinha, because there's a lot of informal waste collection going on there. So I also believe that the people that do this project, they immediately realize, okay, this is something that I can actually use in my own income generation life. And actually it can make me even more money, and actually it can also offer me some new set of skills that I can learn, and I can feel much more pride in the work that I'm doing, which is also, of course, good on the mental health aspect. So yeah, I believe projects like this really suit, I think, well, what you guys are trying to do over there. And I'm happy that things are going okay.
Great. Yeah, things are always super challenging, of course, to maintain projects like this that depend on external funding. But then, since we're talking about international cooperation, that's also a super achievement we have, that is being able to connect all these different agents and actors in this fabric that makes things possible. So we've managed to gather the consulate and this methodology that is open source, and then your work, your methodology, and then our work in the neighborhood, and also work with the community and the social center that really has a beautiful work in the area. So all these connections that made projects possible, projects like this one, to be able to maintain their work going on. Maybe we could talk and discuss a little bit about some of the findings we are having in this process. We have discussed a bit of them so far, but I can start by saying that this part of the global community is a big finding for me as well, at least in all of this process, because it is really something that you can find online. And once we are discussing things in an online world, it's always like, oh, but everything is accessible through internet. You just Google it, you just put it somewhere and it will show the information. It's not really how it works. You don't only have to access the information, but you have to understand it. You have to understand who is making it, how can you make it in your reality, because realities differ all over the world. So the fact that we managed to not only reach this methodology and understand it was happening, but also to find a local agent such as Lixo that was already mobilizing it around here and was able and willing to join the project and to understand how could we make it work. But also an institution such as the consulate that were able to finance the kickstart of the project so that we could actually test drive and start working to see what would happen. That's a super important environment, but it's not one that is always people are able to find it anywhere. It is, I feel like that's a result of years of working with this type of projects also, and of a very diverse network of people who are willing to help. So not only we are doing the project, but everyone that comes along as we are showing the Semente do Plástico products in fairs, or if we have the container open for visitors, everyone that comes along is, oh my God, this is so nice. This is amazing. Have you thought of doing this? Do you know that person that does something similar to it? Oh, have you searched for the hashtag something? So everyone is super willing to help. And that's something super rich for us, this diversity of inputs that makes us have different outputs and different outcomes with the project itself.
Yeah, I feel very strongly about this way of working, this grassroots way of organizing ourselves. Like I said, I've traveled all over the world, I've done projects all over the world, and I've met organizations like yours and individuals like you all over the world who are very enthusiastic, who has a lot of knowledge about the local situation, who have a lot of creativity to fix local challenges as well. But I feel a lot of that energy is wasted in basically this dark cloud of the rest of the world. And what I feel would be an important step, not just for your organization, but in general, would be to connect these local initiatives in some sort of way, to make this global network of these local initiatives who all have their own expertise, who all are dealing with the same problems, but maybe in a slightly different environment, and who can teach each other and who can learn from each other as well. And I feel that would be a beautiful way forward. And I feel we are trying to work on this particular global network a little bit as well. And we also see some challenges ahead, I feel as well, because one of the hardest thing to make happen is that it's really difficult to get funding for local initiatives. Yeah. Because local initiatives means small parties, you deal with non-trusted organizations because you've never worked with them. There's also this challenge of financial transparency when international donors are going to give to local partners. And that makes it really difficult to kickstart projects like you are doing, like we are doing together. And I feel that is a real big challenge for the future. And the only way to overcome this challenge is by basically just doing it. We're basically just saying, the heck, we're gonna do a project, we're gonna work together, we're gonna do something like Mekonta or the beautiful precious plastic methodology, and we're just gonna do it, and then by being successful, people will start noticing us.
Yeah, I think something that both projects have in common, the ones that we've developed together, Mekonta and Semente do Plástico, but also that's a line of work either Society Fresh as Vila Flores have in common, and that is to make things happen so that it's easier to make things happen and more people can make things happen. So every time we develop a project such as this two that we just mentioned, but also other ones with international cooperation. We did a project with Goethe Institute, for instance, also in 2021. They are always in the sense of emancipating people so that they can also have more tools and more information to be able to reach and to connect these dots we have been connecting for them so far, because we were able to access these things because we had. It's always something brings something, and then we're always
exactly.
In that sense, nothing comes from nothing. So since we have this network with a lot of people that not everyone has, we can make more people welcome to come join us in this network, and then being able to access the resources, or either financial ones, or such as workshops or income generation trainings or artistic residencies,
and actually, this is one of the disconnects between local organizations and, for instance, big international donors or big international agendas. Because you work in a society, local society, and all the challenges that is on your plate each and every day are not just one. It's not just one challenge. It's not just women and girls who suffer from violence. It's also young boys who are not able to get work and therefore get into criminal activities. It's also how can we offer mental support to people. And what you see in an international environment is, okay, we have money, but it only has to go to a specific agenda. You can only use this money to fix this particular problem. And your organization is, yes, but we have like 10 balls in the air, and if we focus on one ball, then the rest is going to fall on the ground. So that's actually counterproductive. And I feel that this is a big problem also, because I believe when we are working together, we have this holistic approach where we say, okay, let's look first at the challenges and then decide what is needed. And then also let's look first and that's maybe even a more important step, about look to all the potential. Let's identify first what is the potential in a certain society. What are the people who can be heroes? What makes this neighborhood a potential neighborhood for, I don't know, business? Let's map all these different nodes, these different areas of energy, and then from out of that, what can we then do to solve all the challenges that we have? Whereas in an international environment, it literally goes like this. We're sending some people in. We're going to say, you're doing this wrong. This is a big problem. You need to fix this. And by the way you're working is completely wrong. But we have the solution. The doctor is here. This is the recipe. And if you follow the recipe very closely, all your problems will be solved.
It's a very colonial approach.
It is a very colonial approach. Yes.
Collaborative projects. It's not collaborative at all. It's just a diagnosis, and then so now on.
And then there's one size fits all solution, which of course is not true. So I feel that's why it's very important that you first start mapping all the energy that's in a particular society, because those are the people who need to actually fix the real problems, and they are capable of doing this because they feel connected to the neighborhood, they feel connected to society because they live in that actual society. So they have way more skin in the game to make society better. But that's sadly not how it goes. But that's also, I feel, the solution for the future in a major way. And I feel if we are able to connect all these local initiatives all over the world, not just in Brazil, not just in the Netherlands, then I feel we are on the right track. So and I think that's also a very interesting discussion, because you are very focused locally about the problems in your street, in your neighborhood, and that's actually really good. But it also makes you responsible, I feel, to send out your solutions into the world. And what we're doing today is a beautiful way of sending out those solutions to the rest of the world. And I feel it needs to be done much more, and on a more structural level as well. And I think when because I had this discussion with people. Okay, so if you are so enthusiastic about this group of people there in Brazil, why do they really need you? Well, I said to them, they don't really need me, because they're perfectly capable of doing all the good stuff that they're already doing. But what could be useful is if I can connect them to this international community, to this international network, and then we can learn from each other. Because of course.
Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Because of course I have my ideas because of the experience and expertise that I gathered all over the world, and of course you have this really amazing local knowledge, and you connect this to the people that work in your organization, and they have a certain expertise. And what I really like is that creativity is a big part of everything that you're doing as well. And I feel if we are able to connect this, then not only your activities can be better, but also activities all over the world. And that's why I'd like to be a part of what we're doing here together, because I feel it's useful, not just for your neighborhood, not just for your streets, not just for your people, but I feel this responsibility to take it up a notch and really share this with other problem areas all over the world, including in Amsterdam. For me, I feel if we are really and truly successful, that would mean that I could hire you as an expert to come to Amsterdam and run the same program here in Amsterdam. And I feel if we are achieving something like this, that would mean we are really successful, because then it's not just about Western countries bringing aid to a poor neighborhood somewhere in a country below the equator. No, we're completely reversing the route, and you're bringing your expertise to to Amsterdam, for instance.
Yeah, and also it's something that we are, since the beginning of the partnership, something to change. So the Conta, for instance, is something that happened in Amsterdam. It makes perfect sense for Brazil and for the communities we've helped with this project, we've connected with this project. So it's not something that, oh, it only works in that place, it only works in this scenario. No, with the right adaptations, with the right mindset, things can work.
Yeah.
They can improve livelihood everywhere, but it's not something that is uh, a recipe you make and it will work out. It has to be adapted step by step, and that takes work, that takes time, that takes local institutions hosting these things instead of just being consulted for. And also, that's something I was thinking while listening to you, is that all of the projects we've done and talked about in this live stream, but also the ones we've done in our lives, personal, institutional, they would all just be neighborhood projects, just with very small, not small impact, but a small number of people working on it or benefited from it, if it weren't for the amplified networks we are helping to develop. So the Semente do Plástico, the precious plastic itself, could be just something that happened in the Netherlands and in one city in the Netherlands and never got out. But no, it happens in 200 cities all over the world, and we are doing it in a different way here. Mi Conta could be just something that we did here in the neighborhood if we got to know about boiling. But no, it's something that is amplified, and then the local federal university hired us to do a second edition in the next year, last year, the next year from the one we did, the first edition. So things are always changing and always developing and going one step forward in a sense of benefiting more people and being able to reach more people. And communication is always something, right? So this live stream and the fact that we do have very organized reports so that people can understand what happened and what went on and what went wrong and what went right, what are our still ongoing challenges, but also how can they get inspired by or talk to us to help them develop their own project, or just tell us, oh, we have been doing something very similar here, we have no idea you existed, so let's chat, let's connect, let's cooperate. And maybe since we are talking about future of this type of mindset, we could maybe give a little spoiler to people who are watching us here of our next steps. So maybe with Semente do Plástico, I can be very quick about it, because it's a project that's already happening, and everyone can join. If you are listening or watching us now and wants to know more about the project, please come to us, talk to us. We have an Instagram page that is @Semente do Plástico all together. But you can also come to visit the container. You can send an email to Vila Flores. We will understand how can we connect you to the project. And we are going in, the participants are all in school, and they are going into school summer break now, in the end of December with the holidays. So the project is doing a small break also in this period to work on infrastructure, benefiting the container itself, and all the things we must do for them to be able to come inside the container and work and learn and discuss everything we do. But apart from Semente do Plástico, Society Fresh and Vila Flores are also developing a bigger attempt in international cooperation. We are hoping to also have the help of funding from the consulate, but that's something we don't know yet. Maybe Elco, if you'd like to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, this program is called Vila Vila, and it's a program which basically touches upon this holistic approach that we talked before in this conversation, which is that we have this overreaching objective for the community, which is making the community healthier, and more able to stand on its own two legs, and also cope with the challenges of gentrification, which is happening a lot in your neighborhood. And we're going to do this through creativity and through civic participation. And I think civic participation and creativity are the two main ingredients why this project will be super successful. Because like I said, we're not giving a one size fits all recipe, but what we're actually going to do is we're going to sit down with the people who are living in these streets and in these houses, and we're going to sit down with them and we're going to ask them, what is it you need? And if this is what you need, how would you try to fix it? And then, of course, there are a lot of different activities ranging from workshops, from the Mekonta project and also the Plastic project. But we're also going to use creativity in such a way that the artists and the creators that work and live at Vila Flores will be able to apply their knowledge in a sustainable way to help this society to rise above its own potential. So this is a really big project. It's going to run for 2 years. I believe we are going to host 17 activities ranging from artist in residence programs to theater performances to local markets. Going to do a lot of things, but the overall philosophy is we're going to ask people first. And what I'm going to be doing, and hopefully I'm then finally going to be able to visit, of course, is how can you ask people for their own opinions, and then how can you use their ideas to make solutions. And in order to do that, we're going to use social design. We're going to really sit down with people and start designing their own world, their own solutions. We're going to build prototypes. We're going to test their solutions. And then we're going to refine those solutions. And in the end, you have a beautiful local solution for a local challenge that you can then sustainably make better. And this is actually also the recipe for how we can make this global network. Because if you think locally and you act locally and you do locally, but you understand that if you listen to local situations each and every time, that is actually a global solution. Because then you can take this project and you can put it somewhere else. Even within Brazil, the solutions will be different because the community will be different. They have a different cultural background. So the solutions will also be different. And we can do this in Amsterdam or in Thailand or wherever. Because the mindset of this local thinking, this local participative way of trying to come up with solutions is actually something that works globally. So this is the project that we're hopefully going to do. We still need some money. So if somebody is listening, we need some money. Yes, it's going to be a very successful project. I'm sure of this.
Yeah, De Vila Vila is a program that takes place in Vila Flores for years now, since 2017. And we've been doing it in small steps according to funding opportunities, also opportunities that gather from partnerships. And then with Society Fresh, what we are attempting to do is to create a 2-year whole project inside of this program that takes place and that we monitor every step of it, so that we can understand how can we make it more sustainable and more ongoing, so that we can keep it rolling throughout the years and doing what we like to do, what we are here for, and that is democratizing access to culture, arts, and to well-being of the community. But also that can be the first step of this bigger, wide international approach. So we can also amplify and diversify, especially the network and the work itself. So, well, I'd like to thank you, Elco, for your time in this broadcast, but also in the past few years with all the partnerships. We are super glad to be able to cooperate with Society Fresh. It's also always a lot of new insights and new information for us to sleep on. And I hope you had a good time here. And
yes. Thank you.
Physically soon in Brazil or in the Netherlands. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well, thank you for inviting me today, and thank you for our continued relationship that we have together. I feel we really connect well because we have the same philosophy about improving lives of other people. So that only begs for more. And let's see each other very soon, hopefully in physical condition, and so we can actually give each other a hug as well.
Yes.
Because after all these years, it's about time that we are able to give each other a hug.
Yes. All right, guys. We see each other again next Monday. We have another live stream from the Semente do Plástico series that is sponsored by the Consulate of the Netherlands in Brazil. We will be giving you more information throughout the week about it, who's participating on it, what are we going to discuss, how can you join. But please, if you liked what we just discussed here, and if you want to keep in touch, please send us a hi here in Instagram, in WhatsApp, in our email, or stop by Vila Flores and grab a cup of coffee with us, and we'll be happy to talk. And that's it. Have a good lunch, everyone in Brazil. Have a good afternoon, everyone in the Netherlands. And
Thank you.
Bye.
Talk to each other soon. Bye bye, everybody.